Hello, good evening and welcome to News Review. The general election in Gibraltar will take place this year and will not spill over into 2016. This was revealed by the Chief Minister in his New Year message broadcast by GBC television Thursday evening. Whereas in his own written New Year message this week, the Deputy Chief Minister, Joseph Garcia, was careful to say that the election would take place in the next 12 to 14 months. Fabian Picardo stated that 2015 will be an election year. He said so in the context of his offer in a recent GBC Viewpoint programme to debate issues with the opposition and not be reduced to insulting each other.
I know that this is novel and that this is not the way other politicians have acted in the past. But in an election year, I believe you deserve a debate based on issues, not insults. You deserve that we as politicians should set out our arguments clearly and succinctly, supported with evidence, to explain why we propose or oppose any particular idea. I pledge to seek to do that, so that when elections are called, you can make an informed choice about who you will support and why.
Mr. Picardo claimed the government's finances are stronger than ever and among the strongest in the world. He emphasized that not one penny of the money being managed by Credit Finance Company Limited is being used on any government project. For more on the Chief Minister's New Year message, go to our website gbc.gi/news. And preparations for the 2015 Register of Electors are underway. Forms are currently being posted to local households, with the distribution expected by early next week. The Clerk of the Parliament, Paul Martinez, says there is a requirement by law to update the register every 4 years. The last one was compiled in 2011. Those eligible are urged to submit their details to ensure they can vote at the next election.
Over 21,000 people were registered to vote at the last election, with preparations now underway to determine the latest electorate figures. The process is one set out in law, with updated lists required every 4 years. Letters have been printed, with forms sent to around 14,000 households. These are expected to be delivered by early next week.
You know, the most important thing is eligibility. A person has to be 18 on the date set out by the electoral notice. In this case, it's the 1st of February 2015. So a person to be eligible to vote in a local election has to be 18 on the 1st of February 2015. But because the register lasts for 4 years, what we also do is to ask anybody who will be 18 between the 1st of February 2015 and the 1st of February 2019 also to be included in the form and put their date of birth next to it. So, you know, if an election is called whenever within that 4-year period, we can then extract everybody who's 18 and put it into that register so that everybody is eligible to vote. That's one criteria. The other criteria is obviously that you must be a British national and have resided in Gibraltar for a period of at least 6 months prior to the 1st of February 2015.
And I suppose important to note that people shouldn't assume that if they were in the 2011 Register of Electors, they're automatically included in this one?
Yes, that is vitally important. The 2011 register will now expire, so anybody who's not registered now will not be included in 2015 register. In other words, even though you were registered and you sent your form in 2011, if you did not send your form in now, this time round, you will not be included in the 2015 Register of Electors.
Those eligible are asked to fill out these forms, updating any information necessary. The public is urged to do so within a period of 5 days.
We ask the cooperation of the general public at large to help us with this. It's a very long, it's a very tedious process. As you can imagine, we have, as I said, there's 14,000 forms have been sent out to households, and households will contain at least 2 or 3 persons eligible to vote in each household. So it's quite a number of people that we have to compile and edit. So it will take some time. So what we're asking the cooperation of the public is to please fill out the forms and send them to us as soon as possible.
And with regards to a target date, when should the register be completed for?
Well, the law says that I have to publish a register by the 1st of August of this year.
And if an election were to be called before August, what would happen then?
if elections called before then obviously, and this register has not been published, then the 2011 register, yes, that's right, the 2011 register would still be in effect.
Any queries or concerns relating to the register of electors should be addressed to Parliament, with the team happy to help. Further information is also available on their website, parliament.gi.
Also this week, the Minister for Europe, David Lidington, did not reveal any change in the UK government's policy towards the ROC in a long and often passionate debate on Gibraltar in the House of Commons. The debate was in response to a report by the Foreign Affairs Committee, who said it was time to get off the fence and take a firmer stance in the face of aggressive Spanish policies towards Gibraltar. The committee chairman, Sir Richard Ottaway, said the debate had been excellent, but he was left with a feeling of disappointment.
When Fabian Picardo left Gibraltar House for the House of Commons at lunchtime, he will have been acutely aware of the growing desire among Gibraltarians and the Foreign Affairs Committee for the UK government to do more to counter Spanish hostilities at the Gibraltar border, at sea and in the air.
Madam Deputy Speaker, this motion invites the government to review its policy towards Spain and its dispute with Gibraltar. Gibraltar is a key strategic asset for Britain and its allies.
The 3-hour debate this afternoon would hear calls from 9 backbenchers requesting firmer action, including calls for the UK to take Spain to court over its treatment of Gibraltar. But the Minister for Europe was very cautious.
We stand the better chance of securing the outcome we want for the people of Gibraltar if we work through pressure on the European Commission, using the arguments about enforcing European law and seeing that Spain complies with it, than by that unilateral action, which I think would then put an end to the sort of work through the European institutions that we've been committing ourselves to up to now. Yes.
Andrew Rosendale welcomed the debate, but said the House of Commons needed a new arrangement that allowed for overseas territories' issues to be fast-tracked. He was also less than complimentary to the Foreign and Commonwealth Office.
As equally British in the way that we would expect our constituencies to be treated if ever they were under threat or if ever they were attacked by a foreign power or whoever it may be.
Mr Rosendale also said it was unacceptable that there hasn't been a visit by the Queen of Gibraltar in over 60 years, calling on the Foreign Office to clear away any block there might be for a royal visit to Gibraltar by the Queen. In short, the backbenchers made it clear they don't think that there's been a significant improvement for Gibraltar since the Foreign Affairs Committee published its strong report last year. They implored the Minister for Europe to do more. Sir Gerald Howarth said Mr Lidington was the embodiment of reasonableness on Gibraltar, but said he wanted retaliation.
People are fed up, the United Kingdom and our British overseas territory of Gibraltar being treated in this cavalier fashion by another NATO and European ally. What we're looking for is a bit of retaliation. There has been no effect from what he has done, to be perfectly candid. We've reduced the number of incursions by 22%, he said. What we need to do is send the Spanish defence attaché packing back to Madrid.
But Mr Lidington resisted. At the end of the 3 hours, the chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee summed it up as such.
But there have been no less than 9 speeches from the backbenches today. Every one of them has called for more robust action. And this debate is taking place on a substantive motion. It is inviting the government to review its policy towards Gibraltar. And I presume, because the mass ranks of, are going to turn up, the government has accepted this motion. And what I've not heard is whether or not he intends to review the policy. In fact, the inference I've got that there is no such review. He is concerned, he is frustrated, he feels thwarted, but there has been no fundamental review, and it's for that reason I feel that, hence, I feel that this debate has ended with a degree of disappointment.
Some strong rhetoric in the House of Commons today, but ultimately no apparent change in policy towards Spain.
After it was first raised by the Federation of Small Businesses, the issue of the use of the Tercentenary Hall by a private company to hold an event on New Year's Eve has developed into the first sustained political battle of 2015. The opposition agreed with the GFSB that allowing the hall to be used in this way constituted unfair competition and further accused the government of cronyism because the company in question, Rock Royal, is headed by the former chair of the party's youth section, now a member of the GSLP executive. The government responded that there was nothing untoward in what had occurred because any entity can book a public venue on payment of a fee and meeting certain conditions. It claimed that exactly the same system was in place when the GSD were in office. But in a further statement, the opposition said a distinction must be made between the use of public amenities by non-profit making organizations like clubs and businesses using them for financial gain. We spoke to the GSD's Marlene Hassan Naon and also Culture Minister Stephen Linares.
The GSC echoes the sentiments of the Gibraltar Federation of Small Businesses, who expressed their concern a few days ago about the fact that this event took place via direct allocation and no tender system was applied to it. The event was given to somebody who is a staunch GSLP activist and a former chairperson of the Gibraltar Socialist Labour Youth Wing, and therefore we are very concerned that things have not been done correctly when many other business people in the industry have been working very hard in order to secure their business correctly and justly over the Christmas period. It's something that we asked about in Parliament a year ago, and we were told that the Centenary Hall was not given, they were not charged. This private company was not charged for it. So we would like to know what the conditions have been this year in order to establish whether there has been unfair competition, which seems rather likely.
Now, you say there was some sort of political element to the event itself.
Well, we know that Minister Bossano was present and delivered a speech in the early hours. To be perfectly honest, I'm not sure whether it was in the one of the 25th or the one of the 31st. I think it's irrelevant. You have a company benefiting from a direct allocation and securing two events, and on one of them or both of them, you have the Minister Joe Bossano, and I believe Mr. Fabian Picardo, the Chief Minister, was also there. So clearly, you have ministerial intervention and political intervention in an event which should be just another, leisure event, and so the whole thing becomes politicized, as well as I explained before, having a member of the GSLP securing this event without any fair system. It seems to me, and it seems to the party, that we're just seeing another example of cronyism. We saw it with the appointment of Jason Cruz at £250,000 a year with no previous tender system or any type of announcement or advertisement, and we seem to be seeing it again here with another well-known GSLP activist.
So how would you have gone about organising an event like this one and ensuring fair competition?
Well, to be perfectly honest, my party would not have provided this event, and had it done so, we would have certainly put it out to tender, and there would have been no ministerial or political intervention whatsoever on a New Year's Eve, and no speeches would have been delivered hindering, young people's right to have fun free of politics and partisan.